Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in right here, Fantasy Life, with you for the next couple of hours on this amazing Tuesday, getting you ready for all things waiver wire talk. We've got injury updates. We're breaking down Monday Night Football. Dwayne McFarland's going to join us here in the first hour, and then we're talking guillotine leagues, the most chopped players with Paul Charchian. Adam, it's a loaded day. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, it is. Tuesday, always a busy day, a lot going on. So, tons of information coming your way today.
I've got waivers running right now in one league.
Oh, damn,
10,
for
10
real?
a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern waivers. So we'll
Damn. The
7
earliest one
p.m.
I have is 5 p.m. Eastern today.
Yeah. So I'll let you know I have a couple there were a couple guys out there. I can't believe in the year 2025 I'm bidding on Quinton Johnston. Could be a trap. Calvin Austin the third. But Harold Fannin Jr. was out there, so that's okay. I'm hoping to get one of those guys. And if I don't, you're gonna hear about it. Definitely.
It's actually not the best waiver wire for after week one. Usually there's a lot more. There are no running backs. If
No.
you're in a deep format, there are none. Like you go through the list, you're like, all right, I'm done. Looks like there's no one to pick up.
It's if you need a running back this week, which you shouldn't because we actually were pretty fortunate with no, big running back injuries last week, knock on wood. Sorry. But yeah, hopefully you don't need a running back this week. If you need a tight end though, that's it's a good week to need a tight end and maybe some receivers. So we're definitely going to break down every name you need to know on the waiver wire. My article is live though at fantasylife.com, so you can go and check it out. I tweeted it yesterday as well. 100% free as always. Same with that utilization report. I tweeted already at him this morning. One of the best things that you can read this week from and every week in the season is from Dwayne McFarland, and it is that utilization report breakdown. It's in article form. We also have the utilization report tool at fantasylife.com. Article is 100% free. So again, we're talking to him after this first segment and breaking down everything that he saw from week one. But we finished week one, Adam, with a little Vikings Bears matchup on Monday Night Football. Talk about, oh man, I was ready to text you about maybe potentially like Caleb. I was like, Caleb Williams. Okay, this is looking pretty nice. Glad I didn't. I was like a tale of two halves here, Adam, a tale of two different teams from the start to the end. JJ McCarthy, his long awaited debut for the Minnesota Vikings. I thought we were going to be coming on this show and saying, wow, yikes, this doesn't look very good. Hopefully he can get better. Started looking like a nightmare. And then the Vikings, they orchestrated this fourth quarter comeback. JJ McCarthy had the rushing touchdown with less than 5 minutes to go. And they took down the Chicago Bears 27-24 in his NFL debut. I will say this was a fun stat from NFL Next Gen Stats. The Vikings had a 7.7% chance of winning in Chicago with 1 minute and 34 seconds left in the third quarter. That was when they were trailing 17-6, and the comeback happened. We'll start with the Vikings and what you saw from that side, and JJ McCarthy as well.
Yeah, well, a lot of people were saying he should lose his job and they should
Ah,
change quarterbacks in the first
interesting.
half on social media, because people
Great.
don't react. And you just need to be patient. Look, you knew it going in, it was a not going to be an easy spot. Even with all the injuries that the Bears had on defense, your first NFL start on the road against a division rival. And they really didn't ask him to do much either. Kind of set him up in poor spots where you knew on these third and longs he was throwing, but he showed a lot of resilience and was able to get them 21 points in the fourth quarter. So he didn't throw a lot. So I think we knew that too.
Yep.
Only 20 pass attempts, but fantasy wise, if you did use them, 143 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and rushed for 25 yards with a score. So 3 total touchdowns for him in what was an awful first half and almost 3 quarters for him. So he did come through. A lot of people did take him as a high end QB2 or in super flex leagues were counting on him. Uh, but they were slow to unleash him. And that might remain that way for a little bit. But I think in the end, you like what you saw from him because he could have easily just folded up and
Yeah.
did nothing. But he really bounced back in a big way. And again, he was getting used to the speed of the NFL too. His first NFL start. So there are a lot of factors there. But in the end, he came through. But across the board, it wasn't great for fantasy though.
No, I mean, he finished, you're right. It was good to see him finish this game. Again, we talked about maybe a potential slow start for him and that O'Connell, I didn't think he was going to give him kid gloves necessarily in this first game or the first few. But we have to remember that the sample that we had last season was a preseason game. before he tore that meniscus in his right knee. So it was one of those things where we don't really have the sample size, but finished 13 of 20, 143 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and then the rushing touchdown. Caleb Williams, on the other hand, I was ready to text you. I said, hey, maybe this is looking pretty good so far. And then Adam, all of a sudden, it wasn't looking so good. He went out 20 of 34 with 191 passing yards, 1 touchdown, had 6 carries, 58 rushing yards, and 1 score on the ground. And again, it was one of those things at the beginning of the game where you say, okay, this first drive is looking really good. The offense might finally be put together. He started and completed 6 passes in a row on that touchdown drive. So it looked really, and then 4 more. And then not only did he stop hitting his receivers, it looked like the whole thing fell apart. He was airballing it with DJ Moore wide open. He was missing shots to Cole Kmet. It kind of fell apart a little bit for the Bears.
Yeah, the accuracy is still an issue for Williams. Like there are times where he looks good and times where he just is inaccurate. You mentioned that play to DJ Moore wide open along the
Yeah.
sideline late in the game and sailed it away from him, and we saw that a couple of times. So it's still a work in progress, but I think we knew that too, that it was going to take some time. It's a new offense. So you saw some positive things, but you saw some things that still need to be worked on. At least he rushed for 58 yards
Yeah.
and the touchdown that
Saved
really
him.
helped him from a fantasy perspective. If you did use him, I didn't. I have him in a couple leagues. I was not ready to start him. I drafted him more as my QB2 or in that range where you took 2 quarterbacks and you're like, all right, let's see which one works out. But I know I have Fields and him in 2 leagues, and I went with Fields in both. Thank
Nice.
goodness.
That feels good then. Because
Yeah,
you
I
would have
mean,
been
look,
really
even,
mad
that's the
today.
thing. Well, you had to weigh it because they both kind of had difficult matchups. But it's like, look, at least with Fields, I know the floor is higher at rushing yards, even though Caleb outrushed him by 10 yards, but Fields had 2 rushing touchdowns
Yeah.
and did well as a passer. But yeah, like both sides, it wasn't great. Like it's gonna take time. DJ Moore only 3 for 68. Romo Dunze saved his day with that late touchdown on that nice design to get them within 27-24. Colston Loveland, not good. Didn't play as many snaps
Yeah.
and run as many routes as we had hoped. So that's gonna take some patience. So there might have been some people that got him as a tight end one. I don't maybe, right? He was like in that 12,
I
13 range.
yeah,
So there
I
might be
definitely
some.
have him in some ranges where he was my tight end one.
Yeah. So you definitely don't feel good about that right now.
No, and it's one of those things where you always paired him though, and hopefully your second tight end that you came back around with, and that's what we always said. There was always a limit, right? Where we said, okay, these maybe top 3, 4, 5, 6, you could stretch it out. You got some of the more elite guys, then you don't need to go and get that second tight end. But I have a lot of Colston Loveland, paired with Brenton Strange, Chigakonkwo. So other guys where Brenton Strange did flash over the weekend, so maybe it starts becoming a streaming conversation. But Cole Kmet remained an every down tight end despite the presence of Colston Loveland. And he was generally restricted to those 2 tight end sets. So it's one of those things where we know that they spent a first round pick on Colston Loveland, pair him with Cole Kmet, but the tight end rotation was pretty straightforward with them. When you look at Kmet playing in all situations, Loveland again limited to those 2 tight end sets. So maybe that changes. I think it does, continuing forward, not maybe right away. But I think, again, Loveland is someone that if you walked away with him in your drafts, you have a second tight end that you can turn to, or you're going out and getting maybe a Harold Fannin, someone else. But he's still worth it. Like you're not going to rage drop him yet. Can't do
Yeah.
that.
Look, with a lot of these rookies, you have to understand that you're going to need patience, and you should have known that when you drafted them. That a lot of them are just not going to come in and get huge usage immediately. And I know we'll get to it, but it happened with a couple of rookie running backs this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. We don't panic. We don't panic yet. We'll tell you when to panic. You can overreact though on Overreaction Monday, and then we move forward. You want to Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason? You want to break them down here really quick? I think the expectation was that the Vikings would split the backfield right between Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, 1A, 1B situation. Maybe it was going to be more of a situational situation. say no, that's not right, Adam. I don't know what I'm doing. It's Tuesday, it's early. I got the
At
Folgers
least you know
down,
what
but
day it's right is.
yeah, I do. I do. I said Tuesday. I had the calendar up and everything. But maybe more of the early downs, passing downs for Jones, and then early downs for Mason. But Mason was primarily the two down back in San Francisco. That's what we talked about there, and that's what he was kind of thriving on. And then they were used kind of interchangeably. Do you see this continuing to happen between those two? What were your takeaways from that backfield?
Yeah, that's what I expected. I mean, you saw Mason and Jones pretty much being drafted next to each other. One would go, and then another one would go a few picks later. And I saw some drafts where Mason went first, others where Jones went first. Jones is going to be more involved in the passing game, and he really saved his day with that touchdown
Yes.
because he had 3 receptions for 44 yards and that 27-yard touchdown. But on the ground, just 8 for 23. And we saw a lot of I almost said George Mason. Jordan
Hey,
Mason.
we're really
See,
we're
you're
crushing it
you're
this
you're
morning.
creating a bad influence on me now.
No,
I
no,
was in
I
a, I
just
was in a
made a
groove, and now
mistake.
you're throwing me off.
I'm sorry.
15
Get some
carries,
Folgers.
68 yards for Jordan Mason.
There we go.
But yeah, this is what we talked about it all preseason, and O'Connell said it himself: 1A, 1B, and
Yeah.
that's exactly how they were used. I think Jones played the first 2 drives, and then I was like, "Oh, okay." And then Mason came in, and then they kind of alternated the rest of the game. So I think that's what you're going to see for the rest of the year. I think they're trying to preserve Aaron Jones. I think they're
I think
hoping
so
that
too.
they can, get to the playoffs and make a run, and they want to keep Jones healthy now that he's 30 years old and coming off a huge workload. So, yeah, I think you'll see Jones more involved in the passing game. He'll still get his carries. It's not like they're going
For
to
sure.
completely go away, but that's the thing with Mason. Mason did run some routes too. I think he ran like 9 and 13 for Jones. So there'll be times that he's out there, but he's not going to do much in the passing game. He had 1 catch for 7 yards. So that's the only thing with Mason. He's going to have to score some touchdowns because I don't think you're going to see much in the passing game for those in PPR leagues.
Yeah, but again, that was our expectation.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, he was going to be in there and be that be that guy that hopefully can help preserve Aaron Jones. That's the one they just want both of them to be healthy and stay healthy. Aaron Jones turning 31 in December. When's his birthday? When's his
Oh,
birthday? Hang on,
it's late
hang on.
December. I
Is
think
it?
I think
Oh,
it's
you're.
December. What?
Go ahead. No, 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 nothing.
Oh, it's not? It's
No.
early now. Okay, you
Yes,
threw
it's
it.
early. It's
December
changed. It's early
4th.
now. Oh, second. You're so close.
Oh, okay.
31 though. On tough, Adam. Well, and we'll be hearing that a lot when we talk to Paul Charchian too, because you're gonna be wrong there. With
No, no,
most
you're
top
done this
players.
week. You're gonna
No,
lose.
whatever. Exactly. Getting it ready. But again, it's one of those things where I think we expected that. Like you said, we're hoping that Aaron Jones stays healthy, but if he doesn't, Jordan Mason steps into that big workload. I think that was. You have anything else from this game? You want any Swift?
I mean, look, you
Jefferson.
love the usage for Swift. He
You
wasn't
do.
impressive, but he did have 20 touches. Now, it really didn't turn into much. And he didn't
Yeah.
find the end zone, but they're kind of short-handed at running back right now. Kyle Monangai was in there, caught an 11-yard pass. He did blow a pass protection as well, so that's not good. We'll see when Roschon Johnson is ready to return. But yeah, I mean,
3.3
the
yards per
offensive
carry.
line, it's a new offensive line as well,
Yep.
a new scheme. I know he's familiar with the Ben Johnson scheme, but still as a whole team. So you just love the usage there though for Swift. If that's going to continue, then that's going to be really good for him. And yeah, I mean, on Minnesota's side, again, not much passing. Jefferson did get a touchdown. That really helped his day. TJ Hawkinson didn't do much, but he ran a lot of routes. He was out there a lot. So you got to hope that they open it up a little bit more for the passing game going forward.
Yeah, and his playing time obviously was limited last season because we talked about it. He was returning from injury, so we didn't expect much. And it could be a slower start getting back up to it, but we expect everything to kind of increase as the weeks continue on. And then yeah, Swift was obviously the clear lead back for the Chicago Bears, which is why you drafted him. But again, just average 3.3 yards per carry. And like you said, Adam, this is a new offensive line, so and it's just a new offense in general. So you're just just getting used to it, getting ready. But obviously, if you have Swift, he's going to get, he's going to get the carries that's going to make you continue to start him week in and week out. I didn't write Monangai into the waiver wire article, but if you do have him, he's a stash. You hold on to him unless you really need a waiver wire cut. Maybe you're in not as deep of a league and you have to add some people. Then maybe that's a different conversation. But definitely Monangai, I would still just hang on to because he could still be that guy that comes in. Roschon Johnson, we'll see. We'll see what his injury status is. But speaking of injury status, before we get to Dwayne McFarland, just George Kittle out for a few weeks because we can't have anything nice at him. I don't know. Maybe it's because we talked him up so much this offseason. But yeah, it's a little bit difficult. And then Brock Purdy is iffy for week 2 with an injury as well. So just a couple updates there. We'll continue to talk about it, but I wanted to make sure that we got to at least George Kittle, who will be out. The quote was a few weeks because of the right hamstring that he suffered in that win over the Seattle Seahawks, 17-13. Brutal.
It absolutely is brutal because he was in line to absolutely smash and put up huge numbers in this offense. And you saw it early on in the game. And that's why, we were so excited in taking him. I wanted to make sure that I get him in at least the league. So my home league draft, I took him round 4.
Perfect.
So that sucks. And yeah, with Brock Purdy, this was surprising as well. And his status is what they're saying is uncertain for this week. So once again, 49ers just being absolutely destroyed by injuries. And don't forget Juwan Jennings as well.
Yeah, we could do a whole segment on their injuries. Should we just do that? Unclear when or how really Purdy, it's a toe injury for Purdy. But Shanahan said that, yeah, that's what it is, I think. So we'll wait and see what happens here as the week continues on. We'll give you waiver wire names to know here after we talk to the amazing Dwayne McFarland. Again, the utilization report is live, fantasylife.com. So make sure you go and check out that article, 100% free. Check out the utilization just report, the game logs, the comparison tool, team styles, everything over there, fantasylife.com. Use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription. We're talking with Dwayne McFarland next. It's the best walk-up song on the radio for the best guy, breaking down the utilization from week 1. Hyped, Dwayne. Just hyped. Absolutely hyped. How you doing?
I'm totally hyped. The song always gets me going. I have to say, like, Zoe went back to school a couple of weeks ago, and I'm used to her being here in the summer. So the other thing I've been listening to, because I miss my daughter, is Hamilton. Like, I'll just play it.
Nice.
She came home the other day and she's like, "Oh my God." Yeah. I love the King. I love the George Washington song.
Yes.
Not throwing away my shot. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
This
and
is
it
great.
Reminds me of her. So yeah, I get hyped to Hamilton now.
We'll she's
got me into
that's
awesome. She's turned me into a Broadway guy.
I know Adam doesn't know. Do you know any Hamilton songs?
With the songs? No, I didn't see it.
Okay. Oh, it's good.
It is good. Amazing. She went and saw it this weekend, Kendall, and the release in the movie theaters. It's the 10-year anniversary.
Oh, Adam, you have to go.
She's seen it twice live, and now she's seen it at the movies. Well, Adam lives in New York. He should go see it.
Listen, I say this.
Broadway.
I say this all. I say this. Go see it. I'm pumped. Well, maybe we'll do a little mashup of Hamilton and your walk-up song now. But we're talking with Dwayne McFarland right here. Utilization report is live. FantasyLife.com, 100% free. If you're reading anything this week, make sure that it is that because it is so amazing. So we're breaking down players from every game that you saw here and just kind of the highlights that you had. I want to talk about Keon Coleman to start, to be honest here, Dwayne. Because I remember you wrote him up a couple months ago as a potential breakout player for 2025. We know how bad it was last season. He was injured during the year, but he even came out and said that it was a bad season and he needs to get better. So what did you see from this game, thriller really, between the Bills and the Ravens?
Yeah, so look, I wasn't super excited about Keon Coleman as a breakout player. Now we know that he played through the injury. Honestly, like his comps, Kendall, going back to that article, because I broke the article down into 3 pieces. People can check it out for free over at fantasylife.com. But here's the methodology for finding breakouts. And then I broke it down to early breakouts and then later career breakouts. And with Coleman, his comparisons weren't really great. And so I used the data points that have really shown to be the most predictive for a future breakout. It showed really his ceiling as being probably a wide receiver 3. but there were some examples of guys that hit like him. Alshon Jeffrey's a really good example. Was not very good as a rookie, 7.9 fantasy points per game with 18% targets per route run, turned into a wide receiver 1 the next season. So we have seen it happen. Michael Pittman Jr. was another comp for him. He turned into a wide receiver 2 the following season. But yeah, Sunday was really good for Keon Coleman. What a game that night.
Yeah, no kidding.
That game, Ian and I were waiting for it to finish to start our show. And Ian's like, this game's drunk. I was like, this game is drunk. It was amazing. But yeah, I mean, if you look at what he did in that first game, last year, like I mentioned, his 15% target share, he had a 25% target share in this first game. He had the highest utilization score of any wide receiver on the week at a 95. Wow. And for you folks that don't know what the utilization score is, it's on a scale of 0 to 100. So just like you were taking a test when you were young, you don't want a 0, you don't want a 50, you want a 95. A 95 is really good. He scored obviously 25.2 fantasy points in the game. And honestly, like I went back and watched it. He could have had another touchdown, Kendall. I mean, you guys saw it, like that shoestring tackle at the end, but I just went back and watched his routes. I mean, made some really clutch, contested catches, which we knew he had that in his game, but he was, even though he played on the outside, didn't get like much motion, wasn't put in the slot or anything like that. He got more work underneath as well. And so, seeing him, shake some defenders and catch, some of those shorter slant routes and things like that, I thought that was all very encouraging. Now, will he be a wide receiver 1 for the season? I don't know. Like, that's a question. Like, you kind of have to balance out, like, here's his year 1 profile. This is what he's done in year 2. But man, I had to upgrade him, Kendall. I mean, I've moved him into wide receiver 3 territory. I expect to have him in my top 36 ranks this week. And, then we'll adjust moving forward. But if he has another good game, I mean, he plays with Josh Allen. I mean, if he has another good game, I mean, we'll probably be talking about him as a wide receiver 2.
So let me give a counter to that. And I want your opinion on this.
Yeah.
So the Bills ran 78 plays. They put up 41 points. Josh Allen attempted 46 passes. He attempted 40 passes once last year. And look at this upcoming schedule. At the Jets, home to the Dolphins, home to the Saints, home to the Patriots, at the Falcons, at the Panthers. How many of those games is he throwing 40 passes?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fair. Here's what I'll say, though. We don't know for sure the blueprint this year for the Bills. They've shown this, they've kind of been a hybrid, over the years. They were a super pass heavy team. And then the last 2 years under Joe Brady have become more run oriented. But we do see teams change their identity. And so the one thing I really like to look at, right, is when you go and you look at like the drop back rate over expected and things like that, for the team, which we will have those tools up over at Fantasy Life here very soon. But when you look at Buffalo this weekend, like their drop back rate over expected, which takes into account like the score in the game, they were trailing, right? So it takes that into account. It takes into all these factors. It was still plus 5.5%. So they threw the ball more than we would expect them to, despite the fact that they were in a blowout trailing situation 60% of the snaps. And then they were in a close game, which is within 3 points 14% of the snaps. And then, they also had some of the snaps where they were just in like a normal trail situation. But basically, they didn't lead except for 4% of the plays. But it's already adjusting for that for the Bills. So we'll see. I tend to lean towards the middle ground. I did talk about that in the article, Adam, that, hey, that's the other factor here. We don't know that they're going to throw the ball that much. They've been more run oriented. And then the one other negative is, I kind of already mentioned it, is that, he's not getting motioned, 2% motion rate. Like that's a hack for wide receivers. He's not getting that stuff. That's Khalil Shakir and the other guys. He had 1 screen look. So, I mean, that's a positive. But just having to win on the outside. But I did notice more routes breaking to the inside underneath.
Can you break down, let's go to the Seahawks, because we got a ton of questions on Walker Charbonnet this offseason. And now, Dwayne, it's looking like, I'm sorry, Kenneth Walker managers, if you're here, maybe plug your ears, because it's looking like maybe Charbonnet is the new guy over there for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not encouraging if you drafted Kenneth Walker in round 4 of your fantasy draft. I mean, Charbonnet played 59% of the snaps versus 41% for Walker. So, we try to read the tea leaves on these things. And to be fair, Coach Mike McDonald did tell us all offseason that we have a plan for Kenneth Walker. We all, I think, misinterpreted that as, we're going to keep him healthy through the preseason so we can unleash him in week 1. And no, I think what he was actually saying is, no, we think he gets hurt, and we're gonna take some of the work off of him. And that's what they did. Now, having said that, this is not ideal, really. I mean, it's good if you're a Charbonnet drafter, like he at least moves into the flex conversation, but it's not ideal necessarily for either player. If you look at their utilization score, Charbonnet at a 49, Kenneth Walker at a 48, those are running back 3 territory historically. Now, that's one data point. You could say, well, 60% snaps, and I would agree, like that's really good for Charbs, but the touches were close, right? Charbonnet had 11 rushing attempts and 0 targets. Walker had 10 attempts and 3 targets, despite Charbonnet playing more on the passing down. So I think the plan is when Walker's on the field, they're going to give the ball to him, but they're just not going to have him play as many snaps. They're just going to lighten the load overall. I until we get a different data point, I don't know how we look at it any differently, Kendall. Yeah. So I did downgrade Kenneth Walker to RB3 territory. Like I just don't. There's no way you can rank him in the top 24 heading into next week, in my opinion. When you get like this drastic of a week 1 data point. Does that mean it'll hold for the whole season? No. I mean, we can cross our fingers and hope that things change. But right now, I think we have to take it face value. Charbonnet obviously upgrades into running back 3 status. And that's what I just said. The utilization data tells us they're both running back 3s. I suspect we'll have Charbonnet ranked ahead of Walker, though.
There's obviously a lot of questions about a couple rookie running backs, TreVeyon Henderson, RJ Harvey. Yeah. So
I have to do it.
So is patience needed? Is there concern? What does the reports show on those two?
Well, it doesn't matter what rookie running back you talk about. Even if they had full workloads, everybody's freaking out this weekend, Adam. Like Ashton Genty, oh my God, he had 2 yards per carry. Well, let me just give you a list of the guys that had 2 yards per carry this weekend, and you guys let me know if you're downgrading all these guys. Kenneth Walker, Bijan Robinson, Chase Brown, David Montgomery, Bucky Irving, Christian McCaffrey had 3.1, Omarion Hampton 3.2, James Conner 3.3, Saquon Barkley 3.3. No one's talking about any of those players, but everyone's talking about Ashton Genty and Omarion Hampton. Why? Because they're rookies. And they get the focal point. They get the focal point of our conversation. But to mention the 2 guys you talked about, it's not ideal. But what I'll say about TreVeyon Henderson is we expected this. We expected Ramondre Stevenson to be the lead back to begin the season. We expected TreVeyon Henderson to get utilized in the passing game to begin the season and help cushion the blow in the early weeks, especially in PPR formats. And that happened. I mean, the 34 snap share is not good, for Henderson. There's no way to sugarcoat that, but he was targeted on 33% of his routes. So when he's out there, kind of like what we talked about with Kenneth Walker, they're designing stuff to get him the ball. And he can play pass pro. He can still do all the things. So all the reasons you like TreVeyon Henderson did not go away. He's still the more explosive player. He's having to earn his reps. And is that surprising to us? It's Mike Vrabel. That's another thing we talked about. But you also have to remember this. Alvin Kamara, Jahmyr Gibbs, they both posted really strong fantasy numbers in part-time roles as rookies. Yes, the Saints offense back then and the Lions offense over the last 2 years, I think we would all agree is better than what we think we have with the Patriots. Yeah. But the point being, right, like Henderson can still be a lesser version of those guys in a part-time role. It's going to be hard for me to find a way to get him on the bench. He does downgrade, though. I think you got to look at him as a running back 3. I had him as a low-end running back 2 last week. So running back 3 heading into this week. RJ Harvey, again, patience on this one as well. On Hendo, man, I would be buying Ronis, Kendall. I don't know about you guys, but I would be trying to buy. If your local league manager is panicking on Henderson, I would go after him. Harvey's a little trickier because Sean Payton's going to Sean Payton, you guys. So I know we talk about this with Arthur Smith, but Sean has historically supported multiple backs, right? That can be top 24 finishers, or you can have a running back 1 and a running back 3 on the same team. He's done it many, many times, but we did not anticipate Tyler Beatty being the guy that on pass downs you have to have on the field. Now, he didn't get a ton of playing time, 26% of the routes, but he was obviously the guy they wanted to like get the running back targets to. 55% of the time he was on the field on a pass down, they threw Tyler Beatty the ball. We thought that role would belong to RJ Harvey. So that hurts. RJ Harvey, in my opinion, is much easier to bench. He's pretty close overall to TreVeyon Henderson and all of his underlying data points, but it's more of a 3-way rotation than a 2-way rotation. And depending on how the game script goes, man, that could just leave Harvey in no man's land because it was Dobbins getting the short down and distance work. So he's going to get the carries most likely inside the 5-yard line. Now we know we got another back that's going to get the 2-minute offense and stuff like that. That really leaves RJ Harvey as like just a change of pace guy for right now. Now, having said that, like you guys saw him, Like that 50-yard run he had was really good, guys. Go back and watch it. I think it was Jacob Gibbs was the one that posted all of his runs over on Twitter. Jacob's a great follow, so you can look him up. But man, that run up the middle was a very tight crease. He works his way through it, stays patient, makes a move, beats the second level defenders, and man, off to the races into the secondary. So we know the talent's there. You want to remain patient on these guys. You have to remember not all of your rookies are going to hit early in the season, but when it matters most, when we're trying to win our fantasy championships, I'm still a believer that these two guys are going to be guys we're going to want on our rosters. You just may not be comfortable starting them next week.
Dwayne, last one before we let you go here quick. We saw that Travis Etienne, I want to talk about him with the Jaguars, and then, mention that Tank Bigsby was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. I saw people, victory lapping. Okay, Etienne is now the lead. Bashal Tootin managers victory lapping. People saying, oh, this is great for Tank Bigsby because Will Shipley must be really hurt. So just your overall takeaways from that trade and what it means probably more specifically for Etienne, but everyone else involved too.
Well, hey, I mean, Etienne, I think Etienne, I've watched Etienne every snap that he's had in his career. I obviously look at the data too, but I thought the run he had, very similar to the one we just talked about, actually, for RJ Harvey. I thought the run, his 71-yard run started up the middle. He jammed the accelerator. He flies past all the second level defenders. I think that's the best run I've ever seen from Travis Etienne in his career. We've seen him hit the wide open lanes and just use his speed, but that's the first time I'm not going to say it's the first time ever, but that was the most impressive run I think we've seen from him. And the Jaguars, they loaded him up, Kendall. 62% of the snaps, 50% of the rushing attempts, got 60% of the short yardage work. And now with Bigsby gone, like that number is probably higher, 80% of the 2-minute offense. So I think this is really good news for ETN. I am obviously a Bajal Tootin truther. Like, I love him. I think he's a very explosive player. This helps him as well. Like, he should not be on waiver wires. I'll just say that about Bajal Tootin. I'm going to have the great Matt Waldman on Talk Data to Me this Friday, and we're going to do a film versus stats kind of a conversation. And Bajal Tootin and ETN, that's going to be one of the backfields that we're going to be talking about because I want to get his thoughts on it. But for now, in my opinion, Kendall, like, there's no way you can't have ETN in the running back 2 ranks this week. Like, if you are, like, you're just being a stubborn fool, in my opinion. Like, will Bajal Tootin eventually become something? Maybe, probably. I hope. I'm a Bajal Tootin truther. I think long term, like, I still like where we could be with Tootin, but for going into week 2, like, it's an obvious upgrade for ETN. He can give you running back 1 performances. And then I'll say, the Bigsby thing, I think it's a little more tricky. I did see everybody immediately say, like, Bigsby's the guy. Now, Will Shipley is dealing with the rib injury, but they're still calling him day to day. So, I mean, I don't know how much of this
They said it had nothing to do with Will Shipley's injury. How much we believe that, I don't know.
We don't know. I mean, A.J. Dillon's not very good, so he could just take A.J. Dillon's role. What I see most likely is that it's a split between him and Shipley if something were to happen to Barkley. Okay. If assuming Will Shipley's healthy. So yeah, Bigsby, nice roster stash, but I don't think we necessarily know what they'll do with the backfield. They do like Will Shipley as well.
Is it Tank Bigsby droppable in your opinion? Depending on league size?
If you need to. Okay. If like you've got, like, say you had Xavier Worthy and he's hurt and Hollywood Brown's on the waiver, I'm dropping Tank Bigsby to pick up Hollywood Brown and cover me. I think he is droppable. I mean, obviously it could go the way of he is the main handcuff, and if something happened to Barkley, it could be very valuable, but you got to manage your roster. So if you're in a deep league, you're not dropping Bigsby. But most people play in leagues, Kendall, like, they don't play in the leagues you and I are playing in with the sickos, where we have to, like 25 people, and like Ronis probably plays in 50 player rosters.
Yeah, Dwayne,
like, go look at the 14.
Go look at the running back waiver wire if you haven't already, Dwayne, in these 20 round leagues. It's disgusting this week.
Yeah, you won't drop Tank Bigsby over there. I'll promise you that. You won't even drop Will Shipley probably over there.
No, you won't. You won't.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But no, it's good stuff.
Yeah. We appreciate it so much. Again, everyone, utilization report, fantasylife.com. Go check it out. Dwayne, we appreciate you. Go listen to more Hamilton, and we'll talk to you next week.
Alexander Hamilton. I'll do it.
All right, there he goes, Dwayne McFarland. We're going to go through waiver wire names to know here. Coming up next. Mike's Hard Lemonade is partnering with Matthew Berry and Fantasy Life to give away weekly prizes all season long, including a trip to this year's big game. Prizes include Fantasy Life Plus subscriptions, gift cards to New Era, Homage, and Knockaround TVs, sound bars, and 2 tickets to that big game. And not only have Fantasy Life and Mike's Hard partnered for the sweepstakes, but we've also collaborated on a new 12-pack of exclusive flavors, including Hard Pink Pick 6, Hard Pineapple Rush, Hard Berry Blitz, and Hard Apple Tackle. So go to www.mikeshard.com/sweepstakes/fantasy life today. Enter the sweepstakes and go find the Mike's Hard Fantasy Life 12-pack at a store near you. 21 plus, only premium malt beverage, Mike's Hard Lemonade Co., Chicago, Illinois. No purchase necessary to enter sweepstakes. See official rules at mikeshard.com/sweepstakes/fantasy life. I'm beating Adam in a race, and we're
Never.
racing to the waiver wire.
Not
Come
gonna
on.
happen.
Whatever. We'll
we
have to see.
We
Next
should have
time?
did this in New Orleans.
Race.
We
were
really
working.
should've.
We were working our butts off
We
in New
were, but
Orleans.
still.
We would have had no time. We're running through the convention center. Then our
That's true.
credentials would have been taken away. They would have been like, please don't. Please stop doing that. You're grown adults. We're running. We're racing, though, Adam, to the waiver wire. That's what we're doing here today. We're talking through waiver wire names to know, and I love it because there are some guys you just need to go out and get. Again, fantasylife.com. That is where my waiver wire article is, and I'll retweet it here in a second as well, so you can find it at Valenzuela17 at Adam Ronis. If you need running backs, we've said it before, we said it at the top of the hour, I'm really sorry. Unless you're in a more of a shallow league, then you should have some options out there. But the ones I wrote up, like Dylan Sampson, is probably going to be rostered in all, formats, all league shapes and sizes, unfortunately. But I think the big one here that we do need to talk about is just starting with the 49ers, because the update for George Kittle is that he's going to miss a few weeks. We're still unsure. We're going to figure out later this week if Brock Purdy is going to be able to play for week 2, but he is also banged up. And so they were not committal on him being able to start in week 2. I believe Mac Jones is the backup quarterback over there. But let's start with tight ends and just kind of go through maybe a couple guys that you could look at. We've talked about Harold Fannin Jr. We talked about him weeks ago, maybe a month ago now with Zach Jackson over at The Athletic. Still only 2% rostered, but I worry, Adam, about telling people to go pick up Harold Fannin Jr. to start for week 2, because still to me, he is someone you pick up and you stash, because the week 1 utilization is telling us a story that Stefanski does have a plan for him, right? You saw 13.6 PPR fantasy points. You saw 67 route participation, 67% route participation, 29% targets per route run. And a lot more over there. And I think when they released Deontay Johnson, it was a sign that Fannin was going to be relevant. But if you need a tight end week 2, I think I would go a different direction for a starting tight end, like a Brenton Strange, maybe like a Juwan Johnson, because Harold Fannin still feels like a little bit of a stash.
I think you might be able to use him.
Okay.
He played a lot. Now they did pass a lot. I expect them to continue to pass a lot. I mean, Njoku still was out there a lot too, ran a lot of routes and was on the field quite a bit. It just happened to be Fannin getting more of the targets, but this was clearly something they wanted to do and use a lot of 2 tight end sets. So I think there might be scenarios where you might not have a choice. Like if you had Kittle and no backup and Fannin's the guy you're going to get, you're going to have to start him. You mentioned Strange. He's got a matchup against the Bengals. So that's the same team that Fannin just ripped up last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Strange looked kind of good. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, we have to hope that
Lawrence
he
did
steps
not.
up. I know. I don't.
He missed so many throws. It was pretty bad.
Maybe he's just bad. Like maybe that's
he might
just
be.
it. It's
He
just,
might be.
I
Liam
can't
Cohen's
keep
like, wait,
defending
why'd I
that.
take this job again?
I can't keep defending that. Hopefully it's. If you can't do it, though, against the Panthers, I don't know what we're going to do here, but
It's still the
Caught-
first week,
I
but
know.
yes, it did not look good. There was too many missed throws by Lawrence.
Strange caught 4 passes for 59 yards. I know people look at Johnny Munt. Don't do that. Johnny Munt scored a touchdown. Noah Fant scored a touchdown. Don't fall into that trap. Those are not 2 tight ends that you want to go and get. There are better guys, and Brenton Strange is one of those guys. Juwan Johnson. I just saw they pulled someone up from the practice squad.
Yeah. Well,
like
it
a
was
couple minutes
Jack
ago.
Stoll.
Oh, okay. I'm following the money with Juwan Johnson too.
Yeah.
$30
And no
million.
Taysom Hill and Foster
No
Moreau's
Taysom
out.
Hill. He actually had a pretty good day in that offense, and that offense isn't going to be very good. But if you wanted a bright spot from it, he did have an encouraging fantasy performance, and I think he can be one of the top tight ends you can go off the waiver wire and go get. But Harold Fannin, if you are in a league and Harold Fannin's there, Brenton Strange may be gone, Juwan Johnson, that is not a bad pickup. That's not what I was trying to say at all. It's just we're still waiting. We're seeing what the utilization is going to tell us, but he is someone that you probably want to go and get. I was outbid on him. Some of my waivers just ran about.
How much did he go for?
So he went for, let me make sure I get this right.
This is $100 budget or $1,000?
This is $100 fab budget. So he went for $5.
Wow, that's it? Okay.
Yeah, and the bidding, this is the stacked league actually. So I was a little bit more aggressive in some of my bids. So he went, Juwan Johnson went for $5. And that was obviously the highest bid. The next highest was $4, $1, and $0. And then Harold Fannin went for $13.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I thought
you said
Fannin was 5. I was like, damn.
Oh, no.
Okay,
sorry,
13. Yeah, that seems more reasonable. Maybe it could be someone who had George Kittle. That's the other thing, too, because we get a lot of questions on FAP. How much do I bid? A lot of times it comes down to what your need is. Now, if you have Kittle and no backup, you're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive on these tight ends because you want to make sure you get one, because we already know Kittle's going to miss multiple weeks. There's still a chance they place him on short-term IR. They haven't yet, but we're looking at least 3 weeks for Kittle, more than likely. So you're going to need a replacement. So, that's a lot of times the bids come down to how badly you need the player.
Let's keep going here. I've got more waiver wire names to know. We'll give you just some maybe potential bids that you can put in for them as well, just a range for your fab money. We're going to go through that coming up next. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today, breaking down everything you need to know heading into week 2, starting with the waiver wire. And we've got the article live at fantasylife.com if you guys want to go and check that out. 100% free. I think Hollywood Brown is probably the top receiver that you can go and get on the waiver wire this week here, Adam. I know in the year 2025, it is insane that we are saying that, but listen, he was solid once we got the Xavier Worthy injury. It looks like they're saying he's day to day. I'm surprised by that. Are you not?
Yeah, he's not playing. I mean, he's going to be out. Way. I mean, it sounds like they're going to try and avoid the surgery route and see if he can play with a brace, and then there might come a point where he can't and could be out for the year. So
a dislocated shoulder, and he's already not a big receiver.
Yeah.
So playing with that brace, it worries me. So if you see day to day, I would just be cautious. Act like this week that you're not going to have him. And then if you do, then I guess it's a little bit different and you're just a little bit happier about it. But act, I think, going into week 2 like you're not going to have Xavier Worthy, because a dislocated shoulder doesn't seem like something that they want to mess around with. But again, Hollywood Brown, if he's out there on your waivers, he ended up being one of the higher scoring fantasy receivers on the week. He finished Friday's game with came down with 10 of his 16 targets, 99 yards. We know Rashee Rice is going to be sidelined for another 5 games now it is, but he had that 6-game suspension right before the season started. So, I mean, Brown is going to continue being a focal point in this offense. He's someone you want to go and get.
Yeah, he will, and obviously the Chiefs need some help right now. I would keep an eye on. I don't think you could pick him up because he's banked up and a rookie, but Jalen Royals, I think maybe he could play a role. Maybe he's someone we're talking about when he returns to the field. But for now, it's Hollywood Brown who's going to get a lot of targets.
Yeah, I haven't seen an update yet, but on Jalen Royals, but definitely one, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on him. If he's out there, you don't have to bid much to be able to go and get him. Mentioned Quinton Johnston for the Chargers. Last I checked, he was 9% rostered in Yahoo leagues. That's when I'm talking about the rostership percentages. Wow, Adam, it's a tough day. You're looking at Quinton Johnston at 9% there from Yahoo, but I worry about this. 5 receptions off 7 targets, found the end zone twice when they were in Brazil for that game. We've talked about Quinton Johnston before, how he can't come down with a football, isn't able to catch it. And maybe he's changed. Maybe he's put everything together. But if you're in desperate need of a wide receiver like me, who has Drake London, who has George Kittle, we don't have news on Drake London yet. But you want to be cautious. And if I am going to be without those 2 guys, I'm going to spend money to get Quinton Johnston just in case.
Yeah, there's times where there's just not a lot of options on the waiver wire and you need some healthy bodies and you have to take a chance. And what you hope for is that the Chargers do pass a little bit more like they did last year in the second half. I mean, it could have been a matchup thing too with Kansas City. They're tough against the run, so that maybe they said, let's just lean more into the pass. But we know when they give Herbert an opportunity, he can put up numbers. And Johnston had a 21% target share there. So, there is Keenan Allen, there's Lad McConkey. So there's other pieces, but, he got open, and in some situations, you're going to have to add him.
Let me say this for the last to round up the tight ends. And this article is live, fantasylife.com. If Brock Bowers isn't good to go, Michael Mayer is someone that you pick up. If you have him right now, maybe he's someone that you just go and get just in case. I asked Dwayne McFarland Sunday night if he saw anything in the splits between them. And in deeper leagues, especially before Bowers was injured, the splits, were Mayer getting 49% of the snaps, 32% route participation. After Bowers was injured, though, 70% route participation rate, 30% target share, 7.8 total PPR fantasy points. So again, we don't know what's going to happen with Bowers. It's looking like they're saying he should be good to go, but Michael Mayer is not a bad option.
No, like if you have a bids in for several tight ends, you could put them lower on the list for low dollar amount in case you miss on the top guys.
Absolutely. We're going through and going to the water cooler, taking your questions, taking your phone calls here. Coming up next. It's about that time to go through the Fantasy Life water cooler. All the pieces of news that you might have missed over the weekend, over the last 24 hours. We're here to break it down because you guys are always going to be up to date on news, trades, everything going on in the NFL, especially today going into a waiver wire day at night, depending on when your leagues run. FantasyLife.com. 2 articles there that you definitely want to check out is my waiver wire article, 100% free. Same with Dwayne McFarland's utilization report. And every other article on that website is amazing and here to help you dominate those leagues. So again, fantasylife.com to go and check it out. The utilization tool, by the way, also amazing. If you want to go and compare some players that you have on your teams, make sure you sync your league. But I can't say enough good things about just the utilization report and then just the utilization suite of tools that we have over there. You can use our code SXM20 because we've got the best listeners around. SXM20 gets you 20% off at checkout. So if you're thinking about tier 1, if you've been thinking about tier 2, now we're in the season and you can definitely use it. So make sure you go and check that out at fantasylife.com and call in. We're here to help you. We know that you've got waiver wire questions, everything in between here, 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call in button on the Sirius XM app. We're over there on X, on Twitter as well, at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis. I've seen a few guillotine questions just for the bidding and everything like that. We've got Paul Charchian coming in here after the water cooler. So I'll make sure to ask him some of those questions as well. But anything you guys need, we are here to help because we're winning these championships this year, Adam, and every year, just like always. Injury updates. Let's go through. So again, let me just go through the ones that we just talked about from waiver wire. But Xavier Worthy's shoulder, they said, Andy Reid has said that he's rehabbing. It's day by day here. So not necessarily day to day, but day by day. As far as injury goes, I know Xavier's going to be the big question, was the quote. And he said, we're rehabbing, working his shoulder. We'll see where it goes day by day here, see where we end up. Again, we just talked about this, but be cautious and just plan on not having Xavier Worthy for week 2. If it ends up that he's good to go, maybe they put him in that brace, they say he doesn't, need any surgery or extended time to be out, then we will pivot. But right now, I think, Adam, when you're going to waivers, you have Hollywood Brown out there, you've got Quinton Johnson, probably the 2 best receivers that you can go and get out there. Just try and get them if you can.
Yeah, anytime you have a situation like this where you have a player that has an injury and they're not giving details, always be prepared to be without them and just go about it like that. This way, if they are out, you have a backup plan. You have someone in place. So that's just the way to do it. You never want to take the optimistic approach. Be like, oh yeah, he could be out there. No, always take the other side where have a plan where you're like, in your mind, okay, this player is out this week. So what am I doing? So this way you're set up either way. If somehow surprisingly the player goes, then you can make the decision on whether you want to take that risk of putting them in, but you always have to have a plan in place. So I have Worthy in a couple leagues. I am planning as if he is out this week, and we'll have to make the proper adds off the waiver wire if I don't have someone good enough on my bench to fill in that spot.
Do we just stop drafting Chiefs players? Do we just say, hey, they are the receivers? Come on, and another year in, and we're talking about another injury? It's
either an injury or a suspension for all these receivers.
Yeah,
we just cannot get Rice got injured last year. Brown was hurt last year. Now it's Worthy. So I guess the only guy who stays healthy is Juju.
Hey, Perfect. Don't pick him. Don't do it. Don't look at Juju Smith-Schuster this week and tell yourself a story that could be good. Keenan Allen, I will say, I know we've got leagues of all shapes and sizes with you guys listening here. So Keenan Allen, if you're not in a super deep format, maybe he is available. He led the Chargers with a 29% target share. So I will want to say his name just in case he is out there. I think Cedric Tillman, Calvin Austin as well, Adam. If we're talking about receivers here, another update that we saw was that Drake London was day to day, was the last update that I saw. So again, we're waiting to see tomorrow, Thursday, really what these injury reports today too, what these injury reports are going to look for. But I think those are some other receiver names. Calvin Austin. I'm a little bit nervous about Austin, seeing if Aaron Rodgers really is, who he showed to be last week, or if it was kind of a little bit of a fluke and we get that week in and week out. But Calvin Austin, if you're desperate, like I am, to get a receiver in there, Cedric Tillman as well, was, I think I'm upgrading him to more of a wide receiver 4 based on what we saw last week. But those could be 2 other receivers that you go and get.
Yeah, I like Tillman coming into the year. We saw last year when he got the opportunity, he was really good. And same scenario happened this week where the targets were there for him again, 8 targets and caught a touchdown. So we know Cleveland is going to be playing from behind a lot. They actually were competitive in this game. It was a tight game and they still went to the air a lot, especially with the running game struggling a little bit. And Dylan Sampson's involvement was mostly in the passing game, but yeah, I think Tillman's a really talented receiver, and I know his birthday.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, why?
April 19th, same as me.
Oh.
So how can I forget
perfect.
that?
Oh, that's right. Birthday buddies.
Maybe that's why I have
that.
an attachment to
Maybe that is.
Tillman.
It's a shout out to my dad. It's my dad's birthday today. So if you're listening, happy
birthday.
Happy birthday. I haven't seen any update actually yet on London, but again, there's a lot of guys that we're waiting out for. Again, if you have George Kittle, he is going to be out for a few weeks. Brock Purdy is again the other interesting one. If you have Brock Purdy as your quarterback, I mean, you're going to go to the waiver wire, you're going to pick someone up just in case. You want to be cautious. I know, especially the way that we've been talking, if you're picking up Brock Purdy, you may have another option on your bench already. But it just depends on your league size. I will say, I'm trying to look at guys that would be out there. Aaron Rodgers, right? Michael Penix Jr., probably the 2 that would be out there. I wouldn't go get a Cam Ward yet.
Daniel Jones will probably be out there. But
Daniel
the problem
Jones is playing the Broncos.
I know.
So I don't know if I'm
issue.
really recommending him this week. Wouldn't it be sick, though, if he just went out there and was like, oh, it's just the Broncos defense. Let me just light it up. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I wouldn't count on it either.
Yeah, that's why
at least they're home. In Denver, it would be tougher, but yeah, I don't think that's ideal. That you're really chasing last week in a very favorable matchup.
So would you put him in the order of Michael Penix Jr.?
Well, with Penix, I mean, if Drake London's out, that's a problem.
I know. Are we really recommending Aaron Rodgers as the best quarterback waiver wire ad that you can go and get, though? For week 2? Or would you rather at that point just go with Daniel Jones and hope that he finds the end zone, he uses his legs, something like that against Denver?
Yeah, I guess you probably would go Aaron Rodgers, right?
Gross. Yeah, probably. Again, Daniel Jones, it's really only because of the matchup. It's nothing else, because you're upgrading him really to like mid-range QB2 status. He's going to climb. He's going to keep climbing if he continues to play like this, but it's just a tough defense. You just hope that Brock Purdy's ready to go, because we're not going to recommend Mac Jones if he gets that start.
Ooh.
Unless you really stop.
Damn it.
Get out
I
of
thought
here.
I was going to get you.
Get out of here. No, you're not. I am on my game today, Adam. Just like everyone else, though. Make sure you're calling in 888-963-2682 or press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. Continuing on here, going through news and notes that you need to know heading into week 2. Brian Daboll answered, obviously fan of the show, answered our question almost right after we asked. Russell Wilson will start week 2. At some point, they are going to turn to Jackson Dart. If you have Jackson Dart, if you're in a deeper league, you're rostering 2 quarterbacks, you can stash Jackson Dart for the potential that he's playing sooner rather than later. But it's not going to be in week 2. They came out and said that it's just not really a question. Wilson completed 17 of 37 passes, 168 yards. and was also the Giants' leading rusher. So not great, but you just continue to play, Russell Wilson, I guess. That's what.
Yeah, I think it's the offensive line. They don't want to put Dart behind such a shaky offensive line right now. And also, we talked about it as well, the schedule for the next several weeks. But we are going to see Dart for sure I think in the next couple weeks.
And we're not saying that that's going to be beautiful and amazing either. We're not saying that he's going to go in there and light it up because it's a tough schedule. I mean, it really is. But at least it'll make things better for Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors was pissed on Sunday too. Did you see that?
Yeah.
When the cameras panned to him, he said that the energy wasn't right and he wanted to get it going. Oh, please. Malik Neighbors, we need you for our fantasy teams. But again, it's going to be Russell Wilson heading into week 2. I did see a little, not necessarily a Quinton Judkins update, but Kevin Stefanski did say, and when he was asked about Quinton Judkins playing in week 2, he said he has to see how practice goes. So again, this is one of those things. It's been weird. I understand if you're a Quinton Judkins manager and you've been holding on to him, you just have to be a little bit careful here because yes, he was signed. He's got the fully guaranteed deal, but Stefanski's answer was, we'll see, got to get him through this week of practice. I don't know. So if you're a Dylan Sampson manager or if Dylan Sampson's on your waiver wire, still worth picking up as well. Jerome Ford, not necessarily. That was not good for Jerome Ford over there, but we'll see if he goes out there. I'd be surprised, but you never know.
And look, they're going against the Ravens on the road. They're big dogs, 12.5 points. So maybe Sampson could catch another 6, 7, 8 passes.
Maybe that could be good. It could be good. I have one league where I have Quinton Judkins, and it's because, Adam, the news broke while I was on the clock. I had maybe 13 minutes left, and I said, okay, it was my second to last pick. So,
yeah, even if he plays this week, I don't think you could start him.
I don't think you can either. I agree with you there. Continuing on here, wanted to talk just really quickly about the Kendrick Bourne to sign with the 49ers. Does that move the needle for you at all? I did see Juwan Jennings looks like he avoided any serious injury. How do we keep talking about the 49ers in this?
It still means that he can miss time, though. That's the thing. It's injury, like, oh, okay, cool. Serious. It's not serious. That just means that it's not an extended period of time. Like, he could still miss a week or two. So they just need bodies at this point. But it bodes well for Ricky Pearsall, right? He's going to get a ton of targets.
From Mac Jones.
Mac Jones helped Brian Thomas last year. I think if you ask Brian Thomas, he might want Mac Jones back right now.
Don't bring it up. It's so bad. It is so bad. But yeah, so they signed him and Juwan Jennings. It looks like it's not serious. But like you said, Adam, what does that mean? We're going to find out as the week continues on. Can we talk about JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba? I know Mike McDonald came out and said Jackson Smith-Njigba made a lot of plays. We'll see who else shows up because Cooper Kupp was out there, was really the guy that they signed to complement Jackson Smith-Njigba. But he only had 2 catches for 15 yards. They lost that game again. Couldn't believe it. 17-13. And Torrey Horton is someone that maybe you've stashed in some of those deeper formats. But Jackson Smith-Njigba, if you go and read the utilization report, he had a 59% target share. That's insane. You don't usually get that. He finished the day with 19.4 fantasy points, 91 utilization score. I don't think 59% of the targets is sustainable.
It's
Adam,
not?
I know. Yeah, no kidding. I know Dwayne said that. But no, it's definitely not. He had 91% of the air yard share, was working downfield more. You saw 13.6 average depth of target, but a good day for JSN. Everyone else, no.
Yeah, so JSN too was kind of polarizing because there were some people who were just completely off him and others were aggressive taking him early 3rd round. And when you looked at it, it's like, okay, yes, is the passing offense questionable with Sam Darnold there? Yeah, but who else are they throwing the ball to? That's the way I looked at it. It's like, okay, when they do throw it, it's probably going to be a lot of JSN. And that's exactly what we saw in game 1.
Yeah, it was really a good day for JSN. The Seahawks only passed for 150 yards. They committed to the ground game, which we just talked about with Dwayne McFarland. you have to be you just have to hope for Kenneth Walker managers that it just doesn't continue to get worse. That's the only thing. If it stays in the split that it's in right now,
It's a problem actually for
it's
both.
no, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it stays the way that it does right now, you're not happy as a Charbonnet manager or a Walker manager. One side or the other is hoping that it evens out to one of them becoming one of the top running backs in this backfield. But if it stays the way that it is right now, yeah, both sides are losing this for fantasy football.
Yeah, look, if you're trying to find some optimism for Kenneth Walker, you just tell yourself in your mind, well, he was dealing with that foot injury and they're trying to manage him early in the season. But yeah, this is not what you want to see with a guy that you generally took in the 4th round, probably in some instances as your RB1. If you started 2 receivers and a tight end, maybe your RB2. It's a little bit maybe easier to replace, but certainly that's not what you wanted to see week 1.
No. Week 1, week 2, week 3. That's just not. But Charbonnet does get upgraded a little bit, right? RB3 status. You bring Kenneth Walker down though to RB3. Again, it's a lose-lose for both.
I saw Charbonnet going pretty early in a lot of leagues the last 2 weeks. He was going in round 7 of a lot of leagues. So I think those were people who were saying, hey, he's going to play a bigger role than anticipated. Maybe they also doubted Walker because of his injury. And, there was talk as we got closer that Charbonnet could play a bigger role than anticipated because when we've seen in the past, when healthy, Walker has been the bell cow. Charbonnet basically only had huge opportunity when Walker was out. And when Walker was out for those 6 games last year, Charbonnet feasted. But yeah, it's not ideal if it's a split for either guy because you don't feel good starting either at this point.
No, I mean, so Walker had more total opportunities. So you can look at Charbonnet. You said, okay, he had the edge in snaps, passing down work and attempts inside the 5-yard line. But the way that the split came out was that Charbonnet had 11 attempts, 0 targets. Walker had 10 attempts, 3 targets. So 11 total, 13 total. Again, we'll see if it continues this way. But yeah, both of them they're pretty tough depending on what your roster looks like. Pretty tough starts, especially for Zach Charbonnet still sitting over there. The last one here that I just want to make sure we go through, and again, we're taking any questions you have at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there. Again, Pete Carroll on Brock Bowers. We're just going day to day. I did see some reports that he was day to day, and this is another sign. Just be a little bit careful. Pete Carroll came out and said we're just going day to day. That does not necessarily mean that he is day to day. How many times could I say that right now, Adam? But just be careful. Again, we talked through some of the tight ends that you could pick up off the waiver wire, and there are really good options. There's Harold Fannin Jr., there's Juwan Johnson, there's Brenton Strange. But if those guys are taken, Michael Mayer, the last time I looked, was 0% rostered. So if you have Bowers, are a little bit nervous about him and his status for week 2, Michael Mayer is someone that you can go out and just say, hey, the utilization stepped up once Bowers was injured. He had a 70% route participation rate, 30% targets, and 7.8 total PPR fantasy points. Not the sexiest option, but if all those other guys are gone, you can at least get him in a deeper league, stash him, and just make sure you have an option if Bowers isn't good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We probably will not know about Bowers for several days because my guess is he will not practice early in the week. And yeah, so we might not know his status, but you want to have a backup option just in case, because you don't want to assume he's going to play and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, he's out, and you don't have an alternative. Because I could see a lot of scenarios where people drafted Bowers and didn't take a backup tight end. I mean, made sense if you're taking a guy in 1st or 2nd round, he's playing for you every week.
That's why you and I don't have backup tight ends, because we took Kittle everywhere. So I'm hitting the
Well,
waiver,
it
except for in those 20 rounds, you'll take one. But if it was just your home league, did you take a backup?
I didn't. No,
I
that's
did
a
not either.
league with 24 rounds, but we have 6 IDPs. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's 8 bench spots, so I could have taken one, but I didn't take a backup quarterback or tight end. But you're fortunate that this week there's actually several tight ends off the waiver wire. We don't have this many weeks. I mean, the tight end waiver wire is way more appealing than running backs this week.
Absolutely. We've got one caller on the line here. Let's go out there again. The phone number 888-963-2682. Jace in Texas. Jace, what do you got for us?
Hey, guys, feeling pretty good today. We ended up having Caleb Williams outscore DeAndre Swift last night, so we pulled out the win. But looking at this week, kind of thinking about overreacting a little bit with Caleb Johnson, or Luther Burden's in a little bit of a better situation if, one of those guys falls in front of him. But looking at the waiver wire and maybe overreacting at, Quinton Johnson doesn't really taste quite right. A couple of the other guys Manor and Thornton also there. What do y'all think? Is it worth dropping Johnson or Luther Burden for either of those guys?
Yeah, Caleb Johnson did not have, I downgraded him to like a bench stash only right now, Adam, because it wasn't good. He only played 4% of the snaps against the Jets. But we always talk about, making sure I like to have more running backs on my bench than I do receivers. But Caleb Johnson might be in a spot where he could be droppable for, there was, Jace said QJ, Io Manners out there. But is he worth dropping to you?
If you don't need those receivers now, I'd probably hold for a little bit just to see. It's not like Kenneth Gainwell was any good.
Oh God!
So
Can you imagine we're talking about Kenneth Gainwell right now?
I know.
Jalen Warren wasn't phenomenal either, to be totally honest. He found the end zone. That's the only thing that kind of saved it.
Yeah, look, Caleb Johnson at one point was going, what, 5th, 6th round of drafts? He started to fall,
and
but boy.
Yeah,
that looks really bad right now.
It's Kenneth Gainwell played 50% of the snaps and had the long down and distance and 2-minute snaps. What are we doing?
Yeah,
I didn't recommend him on the waiver wire, but would you recommend him?
No.
I just don't like the Arthur. It's Arthur Smith. I just don't want to recommend him, and then we have a totally different week 2. I would hang on to Caleb, even though it's really gross. Unless you need a receiver, then yes, Caleb Johnson out of some of the running backs that we talked about. If you don't have other worse options, then like a Tank Bigsby. I think Tank Bigsby in some situations, if you need a wide receiver, he could be droppable. But yeah, Caleb Johnson, definitely a downgrade to like bench stash only. Is what we're looking at here. We're going to continue taking phone calls, but we're going to Paul Charchian. We're talking through guillotine leagues, and we're doing it Family Feud style. We're going through the most chopped players, how much you should bid on these elite guys going into week 2. We're talking about it next. Oh, how I've missed this. If you don't know, we're going Family Feud style here with the one and only Paul Charchian talking through guillotine leagues. Paul, we've gotten so many questions about how much money should I spend on, X player? How much money should I spend on this guy? So we're going to go through the most chopped players, how much you would recommend we spend. And Adam and I are going to guess. I'm going to beat Adam in this game. He can start even if he likes, but
wow.
We're so excited.
Damn, that's some confidence. So you think I'm going to fall short already. Okay, cool.
We'll see. Paul, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Guillotine Leagues is the most fun way to play season-long fantasy football. And so I'm delighted that you're reporting there's so many people that are interested in it. I mean, a year ago at this time, we weren't getting flooded with questions around guillotine, but now it's so new and fresh and different. It's great that people are interested. And what we've done in years past and will continue to do in this segment, I've got the 10 most chopped players across all of guillotineleagues.com, and it is up to you to try to guess 3 of them without failing.
Okay.
Adam, you have been ceded the opportunity here. Now, if you don't get all 3, then at that point, Kendall gets to pick 1 to steal, and then Kendall would win this game. I will mention this. Xavier Worthy out. I am not including him in the top 10 because it was too easy, right? 0 points, popular player. And also, we don't have to spend a lot of time on Xavier Worthy. So we're ratcheting up the difficulty a little bit. So, Adam, can you name 3 of the top 10 most chopped players in guillotine leagues?
All right. Well, I think this guy has to be on the list. Let's go with Jamar Chase.
Ding, ding, ding. Jamar Chase, the second most chopped player.
Wow.
Excellent. He was chopped in. Hold on, I've got it right here.
Adam's gonna win this.
16% of leagues, and in a few minutes, we're going to tell you what we think you should bid on Jamar Chase, and that one hurt. Oh, first player taken it almost universally in guillotine league drafts. Had a worse game than he had at any game last year. This was not an expected result for anybody, I don't think, and this one stings quite a bit. Jamar Chase.
You gonna stay on the same game? Where are you going to go?
I will go A.J. Brown.
Okay. Nice.
A.J. Brown. Ding, ding, ding. Yes. The number one most chopped player. A.J. Brown with 1 catch for 8 yards. And it was in garbage time. Late in the fourth quarter, Thursday night. There were a lot of people, including me in one league, where you were watching that game going, this is how my season is ending on Thursday. And that was a real sweat for a lot of people. So congratulations so far, Adam. You've got player number 1 and player number 2 as of the 10 most chopped players in the Guillotine League system. Can you name one more?
I'm gonna go. I have a couple here, but I'm gonna go Nico Collins.
That's a good one.
Ding, ding, ding. The number 4 most chopped player. Adam, you have won this week's version.
Wow.
Yeah, Kendall got a little overconfident. She thought I wasn't going to get it.
If I got to go first, I would have won it. That's all I'll say.
Hey, you gave me the invitation.
Next week.
Okay.
Wow, those are big names, Paul.
Those are big names. Let's talk through. We've already identified 3 of the top 5. Let's talk through the top 5 most chopped players, and let's talk about how much we'd bid on those players. No right or wrong answers, and I think it's great to give listeners 3 data points. So treat this like blind bidding. Think about the number you would put on each one of these players if they were available in your Guillotine League. And it's blind bidding. You don't know what everybody else is going to bid. So we'll throw some of these some of these data points out for listeners, and we begin with the 5th most chopped player, Denver quarterback Bo Nix. Ooh, a rough game for him, tallying just 6 PPR points. This week coming up, he will face Indianapolis, a team that's probably not quite as good on offense or defense as they looked in week 1, where they looked dominating. What are your thoughts here, Kendall? Let's go to you first. How much money are you going to put on Bo Nix?
And again, Paul, right, for everyone at guillotineleagues.com, it's $1,000 worth.
We use $1,000 for the season. Yes.
Oh, I'm going to go 120 on Bo Nix.
120. Okay.
Might be high.
Yeah, that's way high. I'm not spending. Well, I'm not spending on a quarterback. So for me, it's $15-$20. Now, it also depends who your quarterback is, right? You might not need a quarterback.
Yes, the presumption of this whole segment is you actually need the player. So if you're bothering to bid on the player, that you do need the player.
70?
You could use help. Okay.
I'm going 20-25.
Oh,
I'll
really?
I'll just get. Okay. There's got to be a few quarterbacks available.
I also chose $25 on Bo Nix, and here's the reason why I'm still very interested in Bo Nix. And 25 doesn't sound like a lot out of 1,000, but for a quarterback, it's kind of a lot. It's because the rushing quarterbacks give you such a big advantage. Look at Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, all guys that just carried you through this week in Guillotine, and those rushing quarterbacks have some value. So I am putting in a what I think is a healthy bid, a little lower than what Kendall had on Bo Nix, and presuming a bounce back at Indianapolis. No wrong answers, Kendall. You might prove to be right. The Bo Nix is.
I waited on a lot of quarter. Like if you waited on quarterbacks, right, Paul. Like if you I have one where I have JJ McCarthy as my lead quarterback.
Turned out okay.
Yeah,
turned out okay. A little nerve wracking though, Paul. I'm not gonna lie.
If you slough the quarterback position thinking, I could get by with Tua or Sam Darnold or Joe Flacco or Geno Smith or Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence, you are in the Bo Nix business right now, because those quarterbacks really hurt you. And in many ways, you're probably lucky to be alive right now.
No kidding.
The 4th most chopped player, as we've already identified, Houston wide receiver Nico Collins, a 15.4% chop rate, gets Tampa Bay next week. I will let you guys go first, and then I'll tell you my big concern on Nico Collins. Adam, it is your turn to go first. What would you bid on Nico Collins?
I would probably go around 175.
Whoa. I need to get back into the Guillotine League's mindset here. I need to lock in. 175 for Nico. I was going to go 95 for Nico, but that could be low. Might not get him.
I'm going even lower, and I almost certainly will not get Nico Collins. That offensive line is so bad. Houston's offensive line is utter rubbish. It is disaster grade stuff. Right now, I believe I looked yesterday, they had the third from the bottom Pro Football Focus pass block ranking. And on top of that, they lost 2 of their offensive linemen in the game, and one of them has already been ruled out for the year. Yeah. So an already bad offensive line, Titus Howard, gone, gets worse. I love Nico Collins. First round pick 3 days ago. Now, $65 is all I'm going to put on Nico Collins.
Okay.
The third most chopped player is somebody we've not talked about, and that's Washington wide receiver Terry McLaurin, a 15.5% chop rate. This week, Terry gets, let me look.
Green Bay.
Green Bay, at Green Bay. Your thoughts on Terry McLaurin? This time, you can go first, Kendall.
I'm not loving it with Terry. I feel like, again, you've got better receivers that maybe you could go and get. So I'm only going to spend $46 on Terry McLaurin.
Okay. Adam?
Yeah, I'll go a little higher, but not much. I'd say like 60. I think the concern is he missed a lot of training camp. Now, he just missed a pass from Jaden Daniels where we'd be looking at his stat line and it's much better. But Deebo Samuel was heavily involved. It's also a short week too, since they're playing Thursday night. So yeah, I'll go a little bit higher.
I had almost the exact same bid as Kendall, $45 on Terry McLaurin. And just don't worry, how long does it take for him to shake off this holdout thing is real. We see it time and time and again where players that have the lengthy holdout come into the season rusty and underperform. It's not every time, but it's a lot of the time. And how long does it take him to shake that off? I don't know if I want to be there to find out.
Yep.
The second most chop player. Cincinnati wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase, 16% chop rate. He gets Jacksonville. This feels like a potential get-right spot next week. This one will certainly be more expensive. Adam, how much you throwing down on Ja'Marr Chase?
Yeah, this is a popular name that I'm getting a lot of questions on. And I feel like someone is obviously going to open up the bank and really spend a lot. I'll say 325.
I was going to say 280. 280 for Ja'Marr Chase.
I'm always the guy who's lower in this segment.
Know.
I cap out at it's so early in the season. I don't want to spend more than $200 on any one player just philosophically, especially when you don't know, is there injury ahead for Ja'Marr Chase? Whatever. There's still a lot that can go wrong. And even as good as Ja'Marr Chase is, he's appeared on this list once.
Yeah.
He may hit waivers 2 or 3 more times throughout the year. This is not your only chance to get Ja'Marr Chase, potentially. Now, the other side of it is, if you do spend $300 on Ja'Marr Chase and he plays to form, he helps you the rest of the year. You get him all the rest of the season for as long as you're alive. You've got an elite level wide receiver helping you. So it is defensible to spend that much on him. Philosophically, I can't go above 200 even for a
Paul, can I just ask a question real quick? Like,
please,
say for example, you had Drake London, Xavier Worthy, and Kittle, and you survived. Would you be more aggressive then with Chase?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You have to.
Okay.
Especially this stage of the season, you're in a guillotine league with 18 teams. Your backups suck.
Yes.
You need you can't just, if you had Kittle or you had Xavier Worthy, you probably don't have somebody requisite to put into that spot. And you need to spend if you don't have a requisite starter there. So yes, absolutely.
All right, Paul, one more and then we'll get you out of here.
The most chop player. Philadelphia wide receiver A.J. Brown, the 16.2% chop rate. Talked about him earlier. He travels to Kansas City. That's a good secondary, good pass rush, tricky spot for A.J. Brown, although the Super Bowl was not particularly tricky for the Eagles.
I don't know if I want to spend. I don't know. This is gross. I don't like it. I have him in some places, Paul, and I'm not feeling great about it. I'll spend $75 on A.J. Brown.
All right, Adam?
Yeah, I'll go 80. And the concern is that I don't know if he's 100%. He did not look right out there, and they might have just thrown him out there to be a decoy because he had one target. I know it came late in the game. He gets the extended rest since they played Thursday night, but they also run a lot, and we saw a lot of games last year where he wasn't heavily involved. So I think it will get better from a season-long perspective, but Guillotine League, I'll say about 70.
Yeah, I've got 80 on A.J. Brown. 3 dud games last year with 2 or fewer catches, 36 or fewer yards. He does do that sometimes, where the Eagles just have so many ways to score. that even when they have good games, some of them don't involve AJ Brown, and he's got some dud to him. So I'd be a little more cautious here.
Paul, was Dak Prescott on the list? We were talking about this. Oh, okay. He was in the top 10?
He was 9.
Wow.
Yeah, so the not mentioned here, number 10, Kenneth Walker, number 9, Dak Prescott, the 8th most chopped player, TJ Hawkinson, 7th most Mark Andrews, 6th most David Montgomery.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Those are some interesting ones at the back half.
I had a few of those on my list. I didn't have Montgomery though.
Oh,
the tight end position.
It's tough.
Man.
It's tough out there.
Rough week. Yeah.
People can go to and listen to the podcast, right? The Chop Podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, and then guillotineleagues.com, right, Paul? Just because it's week 1 doesn't mean you can't already start joining a new Guillotine League.
That's right. Yeah. So instead of playing with 18 players, you can start playing with up to 17. You can even do less if you want. Your season will just end sooner. But yeah, we're still creating new Guillotine Leagues at guillotineleagues.com.
Awesome, Charge. Well, it's awesome to talk to you. Hopefully you're safe in all your leagues. Hopefully we are as well. And we're going to head to the waiver wire and hopefully get all our guys that we need. And we get to talk to you next week here.
Sounds great. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Bye. We're going to go through Stock Watch here. Coming up next. Introducing the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. Life is unpredictable, but the price of your internet shouldn't be. Get a reliable price for a reliable connection. And by all in, we mean all in. Get Wi-Fi equipment and unlimited data included. Change is always happening, guys. We say this all the time. Waiver wire names are going to change. RB1 seemingly never repeat. But no matter what changes in 5 years, the price of your internet will stay the same. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Whoa. I got a producer Ani edit. I didn't even say that. Is this how you feel, Adam?
What do you mean?
I did not say that you should. No, I'm not even repeating it. I know what you're doing.
No, you did. I think you made a mistake, but you did say that.
No, I didn't. Did I?
Yeah.
Word for word? No, I didn't.
Yeah, that was not edited. I always get edited, and it's obvious.
No, yours always says that. You're the ones that you say are pretty much right.
No.
Yeah. No, I don't. What are we doing, Ani? I thought we were friends.
Apparently not.
Oh, man, brutal. I don't know. Noon bedtime though?
That's what time I would like to wake up, but this show interferes with that.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, I can't sleep to noon anymore. I don't remember the last time I slept till noon.
Probably
I used to.
Because you shouldn't.
I used to a lot, but I can't. I don't even have the ability anymore.
If it gets past 9 a.m., I think my day is over.
Well, yeah, because you go to bed at 8 p.m. That's why.
If I haven't done something productive, then the day's done, and I'm just like, gotta try again tomorrow. Anyways, go to bed at whatever time you want. I've got my Folgers. I'm good to go. I'm ready.
Good for you.
I have no way to get from.
It's almost bedtime. We're approaching noon Eastern.
I have no way to get from that to Stock Watch. Nope, I don't have anything right now. Do you? Good transition.
That's your job.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Adam. Really appreciate it. I wanted to go through Stock Watch. Players just, more of a rapid fire style of players that we saw in week 1. How worried should we be? Is their stock up, down, or just staying right there in the middle? Starting with what people do with Tyreek Hill. I know we mentioned Tyreek Hill. It was bad. I mean, from a quarterback perspective too, we need to have better quarterback play from Tua Tagovailoa. If you want to talk about the targets, they were there, right? It was all there. They rested in the fourth quarter, but he had a 27% targets per route run, 50% of the reps from the slot. I know people don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it either. If you were drafting him, it was in the 3rd round. And so he is a valuable piece of your team build and your receiver build probably. But Tyreek Hill at least has to be a downgrade because of what we saw, not only from just him and the frustration, but from Tua Tagovailoa as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's just nothing has been positive with the Dolphins. And, this week, though, they are at home against the Patriots, who did not look good in week 1. So maybe this is where they at least have a good game offensively, but you have to be concerned. But there's really nothing much you can do, right? Because you're not going to be able to trade him at this point. I mean, Hill was a guy that was falling in drafts 3rd, 4th round, and then people were like, hey, let me just take him because if he can rediscover the form that we saw 2 years ago, it could be a winning pick. But I think there has to be major concerns with this Dolphins offense right now.
Stock down. You know what we need him to be? We need him to be this year's 2025 Devontae Adams. And if he gets traded to a better situation,
everyone's
then
hoping for that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I am too, to be totally honest, because I think we all believe that it's still there, right? That he at least still has a good season in him, couple, or at
He
least
has the
salvageable.
speed for
Yeah.
sure, but it's bad vibes with Miami right now.
I don't know if it happens. I know people are calling for him to go back to the Chiefs. That feels like it might be just a dream here. I know that I've seen some people mention the Steelers because people believe that the Steelers offense from what they have right now is actually able to win in the playoffs. And then if they add another piece over there, that maybe they're able to really do it. But again, it's just, that's what you're just going to have to hope for, and hope better days, better games are ahead for Tua Tagovailoa as well. That's the other thing you have to look at. Stock watch, stock up. Feels like Christian McCaffrey. You were nervous about it. We were all nervous about it. You listening, you were nervous about it. But Christian McCaffrey was able to play in that game going up against the Seattle Seahawks, came off the injury report. And week 1 win. McCaffrey totaled 31 touches, finished with 23.2 points, fantasy points. And he didn't have, great numbers on the ground, right? 3.1 yards per carry. But hey, you're happy about it.
Yeah, it was the 9 receptions for 73 yards on 10 targets. But still, if you think that he's going to be able to hold up with 31 touches every week, good luck to you.
Gosh, so negative.
I'm just trying to be real here. Like, come on.
You can't say congrats, CMC. You made it through the game.
Okay, this was never about 1 week. This is the course of a season. Like, if everyone had McCaffrey top 3 RB this past week, if you knew he was going to play, right? Mm-hmm. That's not the whole point. We know when he's on the field and healthy, he's going to get massive volume, especially with everything that's going on there now. Kittle left the game early. Jennings left the game. So it's like, all right, we have to give McCaffrey the football. But I don't think, if you ask Shanahan, he didn't want 31 touches in week 1 for McCaffrey. I
was still saying stock up, though. It was nice to see. It was good to see.
It was good to see if you had him too.
You're like, enjoy it while you can. It's not going to happen again.
No player in this league can maintain 31 touches every single week, and then
10
especially
targets, 9 for 73.
Yeah, especially at 29 years old and the injury history he had.
I know. It's just, but it was still nice. Still nice to see. Let's continue. I want to make sure we go through the final waiver wire names. I know we've talked about it throughout the show, article live at fantasylife.com, but for the last segment here, just waiver wire names to know, guys, and where we're going to prioritize them. We're going to do that here coming up next. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you on this Tuesday. You guys are the best. Make sure you go and get those waiver wire bids in. Go to fantasylife.com and check out my article for waiver wire names to know. If we're going through more rapid fire here, Adam, if we're thinking about, let's start at the quarterback position. If Brock Purdy, for any bad reason, is not good to go week 2, we know that Mac Jones steps in as the backup for the San Francisco 49ers. But how would you prioritize? I'll throw you Michael Penix Jr., who should be available in a good amount of leagues. Daniel Jones as well could be the waiver wire pickup this year, but has a tough matchup against the Denver Broncos, or an Aaron Rodgers. I want to say Daniel Jones long term, because if what we saw in week 1 is what we get the whole season, he will be a waiver wire hero. But again, if you need someone to plug and play this weekend, it is tough going up against the Denver Broncos defense.
It definitely is. We saw them really suffocate Tennessee. Now, it was Cam Ward making his debut in Denver, which is always a tough place to play. But I still, when you compare those other names, at the risk of not potentially losing Daniel Jones, maybe I would go with him and maybe take that chance. Afterwards, he has at Tennessee, at the Rams, home to Vegas, home to Arizona, at the Chargers. So there's some tough defenses mixed in there, but he can run a little bit. And if he gets you those rushing yards, that might help. Because with Penix, if Drake London's out, that's a big hit. And especially if Darnell Mooney doesn't come back either. Now, there is a chance Mooney does return this week, so that would help. But that's the situation there. And Rodgers, he's not going to put up those numbers every week. It just happened to be a shootout with the Jets where they needed him to do that. But that's not really the way they want to play.
Gosh, if Mooney and London are out, is Kyle Pitts a top 12 tight end in week 2? That's crazy.
You were probably upset that he had a good game this past week.
I wasn't upset. I was very, very happy for everyone. I was happier with my Tyler Warren shares. I'll just say that. But
of course. I mean, that's an easier one.
Of course.
Pitts 7 catches, 59 yards.
He did it. He definitely he'll be I struggle. I bet he's pretty close to top 12, top 15 this week, right? 13, 14 tight ends?
Probably. I mean,
Maybe.
I didn't really look at week 2
yet,
yet, but he's definitely in the top. He's got to be in the top 10, I would say, this week, especially with Kittle out, right? Kittle is out. Yeah. We know that. Bowers, you would put in the initial rankings for sure, and he'd be up there. But I think Pitts is probably. Oh, Evan Ingram is also injured.
Yep, he's got an injury. I haven't heard anything on that one. That one's brutal too. There's a lot of good tight ends on the waiver wire though. That is something that we can talk about. If Kyle Pitts is out there, yes, go and grab Kyle Pitts.
There's no way he's out there. No, well, maybe in a 10-team league.
Yeah, that's what we got to talk
No, we have to help everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I think Pitts, he's 65% rostered on Yahoo, so I don't expect him to be out there in a lot of leagues. But let me just throw out, we talked about Harold Fannin Jr., deeper leagues especially, go and get him because it's not necessarily someone you want to start right away. If you have to, it's okay. But deeper formats, you want to go and get Harold Fannin Jr. We're yelling it from the mountaintops that you want to go and get him. Michael Mayer, if you have Brock Bowers and something comes along in the week and they say he's not good to go, still a good tight end to have. And he had the utilization once Brock Bowers went out. That proved that he can still, get you fantasy points throughout the week. I think Juwan Johnson is a good name for tight ends. Brenton Strange as well. I think those are all good tight ends that you can go and get.
Yeah, and I'd say even in the deeper formats, I think Juwan Johnson is probably available. Fannin's probably available. Definitely Mayer available. So that's the thing. If you do have a Kittle or you want a safety net for Bowers or you have Evan Ingram, at least there actually are a few alternatives this week.
Keenan Allen probably not available, but if we're going through waiver wire receivers, wow, why do I keep doing this today? It's the tongue twisters. Keenan Allen though at the top, and then Hollywood Brown, Quinton Johnston, Cedric Tillman, Calvin Austin is how I would do it. But definitely Keenan, Hollywood, major.
Yeah, for sure. Hollywood is in line for just massive targets as we saw last week.
There we go. Waiver wire article is live at fantasylife.com. Have a great Tuesday. Have a great rest of your day. We're going to see you same time here tomorrow. You've got RotoWire Fantasy Sports Today coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow.